What's up, good people? We live, brother.
What's happening, brother? I just got out of a session, man. I was trying to get up out of there, bro.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
I got people like going in and out.
I'm having a wonderful day. Smile like we live, it's a blessing for me. Today the dreams will be on me. Cause I'm having a wonderful day. Hey. I'm having a wonderful day. Smile like we live, it's a blessing for me. Today the dreams will be on me. Cause I'm having a wonderful day.
Welcome, good people. Welcome
Assalamu
to
alaikum, brother.
Walaikum salam. Welcome to Peep Game TV presents live at 5. I'm your man SRD with my main man 100 grand Big Muzz.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers, people, sisters, brothers out in the world today.
And as usual, we let you know that the goal is to uplift humanity. And thanks to one of our viewers, this is how we're going to break it down. One person, one family, one neighborhood, one city, one state at a time. That's how we breaking it down. That's how we bring it to fruition of uplifting humanity. We got to start with ourselves first. Then we start with our families. Then we start with our neighborhoods. Then we start with our cities. And then we start with our states. And ultimately, it spreads from there. Now, and I want you guys who listen, who view it, when you hear something that you like, you hear something that motivates you, go on, take a clip, share that clip with other people, because we want this to get out. And basically, we're going to start off. We're going to start off with my brother. And what we talk about. We're going to speak about that again. We was, that conversation we were having earlier about, where we ended on our views on the black thing, and everybody, hopefully they know my view. It's whenever you hear me talk about black, it's never to downgrade the people. It's never about that. It's only about how I see the word and how it's been used to, for me, I see it as it divides us. But my brother, he see it as it brings us together. So with that being said, I'm gonna let my brother explain to us how and why, he sees that the black brings us together, it unifies us.
It groups us together. It's not necessarily it's bringing us together. It's already grouped us together across the globe.
Okay.
Like you said, it's a description. So it's described. It describes us. It describes melon people, a dark skinned people that goes through a series of events, and it links them together with this description. What separates the group? What separates the group is how we start to identify ourselves, other than being part of the group that described behind the action that it did, or behind a historical event that's tied to it. So it separates us. So now some people don't want to be a part of that group that goes through that. That is described to say that's what they go through. Like I'll give you an example.
Right.
People don't want to live in the hood, right?
Right. Some people.
So
right.
if you come to Newark right now and you go through the hood, you see the hood changed.
Okay.
Okay. It has a diversified people in the hood. It has different storefronts in the hood. It's a total different hood. And we see that because of the people that lived there, the name changed gradually. Like, remember, it was ghetto, then it was hood, it was
Right.
neighborhood. People move out. People don't have ownership no more. You know what I'm saying? So us as a group of people that goes throughout history, right? And we
Right.
describe these events. We give a description, right? When
Right.
we give a description, we say the black people. So now when something happened, let me give you another example. Like they say, black on black crime, right? You say
Right.
black tied to this. So they don't advertise when it's a white neighborhood because they don't advertise it. And then it's a predominantly white neighborhood and it's crime there. Who's the crime against?
Yeah. If it's crime in the area, then it would be white on white crime.
Okay. But do they advertise it?
No.
No,
No.
okay. So
No.
they
What?
advertise everything that attached to us, no matter who we call ourselves, what we're gonna call ourselves. It doesn't matter. The prejudice don't come from what we calling ourselves. The prejudice comes from who we are, how we look, and that's across the globe. If we are the dominant people, okay, so to knock our dominance down, right? And how you gonna not have black on black crime when you put people in a neighborhood, right? And these people are struggling, and the only crime it can be against is each other. The only struggle that it could go against is each other, because that's why you have this neighborhood over here, this neighborhood. When it's a diversified neighborhood, you have less crime. It don't be that much crime in a diversified neighborhood. It levels out. But when you have a bunch of people, whether they're Spanish, whether they're white, whether they're Italian, no matter what they are, in their own neighborhood, they're going to have the crime against each other because they're gapped up there. Our label, it carries with us. And it carries with us, I'm saying that we could call ourselves 100 different things. And like you showed it, for example, it's people that don't call themselves black. Do calling yourself black initially tie you into every activity of negativity that was caused by blacks? Or do it just identify a dark group of people that heritage comes from the same place? From the same place.
Okay. So let's look at it like this. Okay. When we use the word black, it's not always, and I think that's where the racism comes in at, because when we use black, most people look at it as darker skinned people. Now, what happens is the lighter skinned people suffer. You have light skinned people say, "Well, I'm not black enough, but I'm not white enough either." You know what I mean? So I think that the black, to me, is what keeps perpetuating the racism. Why? Because racism is based on color oriented task of signaling people out based on their skin color. So when you say I'm black, now I believe we feed into the racist ideology, because now we're being signaled out based on a color rather than, and we're tying that color into a people. Now, for me, if we say we're melanin, we remove that black stigma. Now we're melanin, and now we're melanated. Now we still connected to all the people with melanated skin. Everyone who has melanated skin, we're connected to. So now I think it's less division. I think actually the black divides us more than it unifies us, because when other individuals come from other countries, they normally identify as whatever they come here as. I remember when the Jamaicans came, the Jamaicans were saying, "Yeah, I'm Jamaican," you know, and the Haitians were saying, "I'm Haitian." But those of us who were from America were basically attacking them, saying, "Oh, they think they're not black. They think they're not black." And then they started to say, identify with black to fit with us. And I think it was unfair of us to have them go by something that when they were in their home country they didn't go by, but once they came here, the imperialism and the the mindset that we have embraced the black, we caused them to embrace it, and now it became culturalized in other countries now, where those who wasn't having the problem of being black, now they target, okay, black. Now we're looking at, okay, if we have a problem, our problem is based on us being the indigenous people of the land, and we're disguising it as race. Like, I don't like them because they black. No, I don't like them because they are the original people. And as long as we keep them fighting and thinking that we don't like them based on their skin complexion, they will never wake up and start focusing on what they need to do as a people to be free of the colonization that we have embedded on them. So now let's keep that black going. Let's keep it going, and so that they they look at it in a manner of, we hate the color of their skin. But no, we hate that we weren't them. We hate that they were the first people in all these lands, and now that we have conquered those lands by utilizing what they had, which was government, and the government that was put together, we wrote them out of history. We were written out of history based on giving us a a complexion, or what is it, a description rather than a nationality, because we've known that whenever America wants to take somebody down or go to war with them, they create an image. They give it an image. Give you an example. When America wanted to go to war with, Saddam Hussein, they painted them as a terrorist. Not now, all the years when he was useful to them, he was fine. Soon as he started changing and wanted to be free of them and build for the people that he was a part of, he became a problem. Then they start calling, okay, look at him. He's a terrorist. Now, who could have been more terrorizing than in the 60s, the so-called black people was experiencing the terrorism then. They never wrote a terroristic law. They never wrote a law for the so-called black people being terrorized by, at that time they were calling them the white people. Now, mind you, remember, all the people who identify as white, they all still have a nationality. They still all come from a land and is still connected to that land one way or the other. Let's name a few of them that identify with white. Italian, they tied to Italy. Russians, they tied to Russia. Germans, they tied to Germany. Jews tied to Palestine, to Israel. So all of them are tied to a land, and yet they they want us, the government want us to keep saying, no, we black, and fight amongst ourselves about being black.
So here we go again. You saying we're not tied to no land?
I'm saying black is not tied to a land. I'm not saying we as a people. Black is not
Yeah,
tied to
but
a
see,
land.
this is the,
But
listen.
and
This is the misunderstanding.
right,
This
go
is the
ahead.
misunderstanding. Because this is what you just said. You said racism is it don't matter what color we are. It don't matter how we call ourselves. They don't like the color of our skin. That's what you
And
said.
no, no, I
You,
said they don't like that we are the indigenous people of the
right, and
land.
that's the
It
color of
has
our
nothing to
skin,
do
right?
with our skin color. Look what's happening. Look what Israel is doing in Gaza. That has nothing to do with the skin color. That has to do with they want the land from the indigenous people. And that's what's happening. Well, every time you go into war, they're going to war. It's not based on the color of a person's skin, it's based on the ones who have the land and the ones who want the land create some kind of friction to give them the right to go in and take the land from the indigenous people. That's what's happening. So as long as they can keep it about race or terrorism, when it's not us, they use terrorism. Look, they anytime they go into another country, it's terrorism. So it's not about race, it's about greedy individuals who want to overpower the entire world, but really don't know how to deal with people in an equal manner. They're greedy. So if you're greedy, you don't know how to share. Everything is about me, mine, give me. That's the mentality, and that's the
Right.
mentality that's happening.
We know
That's
how
what's
they are.
right, and
So,
that's the
but my
mentality.
thing is, is our heritage tied to any other land other than America?
Our heritage is tied to all lands because we all are connected. Melanin people are all connected. We all are connected.
So
So
then,
we
how can you say we can't claim nothing?
it's not the point of we if you claim it as I said before.
We ain't talking about the description. We
No,
talking
no,
about the culture of
we
people.
are talking we because when it comes to like you said with KRS-One and what he's doing, he has to claim something. And he's claiming hip hop. He's claiming that. He's not claiming rap. He's claiming hip hop. Why? Because hip hop was the origin that brought rap about. So he's claiming the origin. Black is not our origin. Black
No,
is
no,
right.
right. But listen, he's not changing the culture of a people. He's bringing a culture of diversity together under that umbrella of hip hop, right? So he's bringing that together. We're talking about the people. Now, I'm saying your statement is that we're not tied to anything. So you're saying that the only thing we tied to if we claim America, what did we so you're saying we didn't have no land and we can't claim no land like the Italians claim in Italy. You're saying that we can't claim nothing because we're black?
I'm saying that as black cannot claim any land, not even America.
We
Black
know
can't
that.
claim any land.
We know that. So
Any land, any land.
besides America, okay? Because America has been taken actually, right? It's been you saying it's been taken from them, right? So just
It's
like
been
every other land,
we've been it been colonized.
right.
America has been colonized,
They took America, right? Because
just like
we're not claiming it.
many other lands
Right.
have been
So,
colonized.
all right. So,
Right.
before America, what was the indigenous people, our complexion, the melanated people, what land was theirs?
They had many places of land. They had
Name
many
one.
lands.
Name
They,
one.
for example, what they call it, Akibalan. That we had that. Akibalan, the biggest, one of the biggest continents in the world. What they now call the Middle East. We were entitled to that. What they call Mexico, Canada, there.
So how can we
We were
not
all over.
claim? So how can we not claim a land when you say these are our lands?
The key word. This is what I'm saying. You are
That's the
unable to
description of a group of people.
a
So don't
description.
you don't confuse the two. We
Look,
talking about the description of people all over the world as described in any text
melanin, a
or
melanated people, melanated people.
identify. Right,
Right. We can say
black people.
melanated people.
Right,
We can say
black.
melanated people.
Ba-
So even as melanated people, even though we connect, we know that there's domestic law and there's international law. So we are being governed by an outside entity that has no true commitment to us. Their commitment is to whom they brought here and whom came here and whom they identify with. We we are not, and many of us really don't get it, and we fight against it, and we try to be a part of it, but we always seem to come up short because at the end of the day, that particular government was never supposed to govern us. That's the difference. It wasn't supposed to govern us, and how they became able to govern us wasn't based on slavery, wasn't based on they took over and beat us down and all of that. That's the misconception. The misconception, the reality to it is once our people started diverting away from our own government and allowed the American government to supersede our government, that's when the real actual slavery became, because now we are under the jurisdiction. Now we are not no longer nationalists. Now we are citizens. We no longer have human rights. We end up with civil rights, fighting for civil rights. So human rights is your God-given right. As a person created by God, you got God-given rights. Civil rights is man-made. A man gets to tell you what you can and can't do based on the laws that they put together. And as Black people, we are forced to abide by those laws, even when they don't always benefit us, even when it comes to it causes destruction amongst us. We still have to abide by them because we continuously say we as an African American, we as a Moorish American, we as a Christian, we everything but what we legally have written down to identify with. And the power, we already really know that the power is political power. At the end of the day, we're missing political power. We have financial power with enough of us, and we are one of the massive spending in people in this country. So it's not about economics that's hurting us. It's about us being able to have political power and be able to set our laws that can combat the laws that are unjust for us. Right now, unjust laws, all we do is protest, vote, and hope. And at the end of the day, that hasn't been working too well for us. We still have the same conversations some 50 years later that we're being disenfranchised. And that's by design, but the brilliance of the colonizer was, look, make them think we don't like Black people. Make them think it's about that. Don't ever let them know that they are the original people of this land and they have rights to this land. And we've already signed a written agreement that we would cohabitate with them. We will cohabitate with them, and we got other countries who have signed on to it as well that knows that they are the original inhabitants of this land. So we got to keep this rules going. We got to keep this lie going that we brought them over here on the slave ships, you know? And that particular thing has us disconnected to the land, because if you were brought somewhere, then you can't be the owner of the land because you was brought there. But if you were here prior to the colonizers coming, that means you have rights to the land, that the power that they're wielding over us, that's the very power we should be wielding over the them. Because there
So
can only be one
do
sovereign.
you
Go ahead.
think in this day and time, do you think in this day and time that and do you really think that and being though who's the teachers now in the schools, that we don't know now, even our children, that we haven't been brought over here? The majority, maybe not all, a good like 85-90% of us don't know that we were here already, or this is our land.
I mean, I I don't know, because so often when we have conversations, slavery pops up, and slavery is tied to being brought here. We could be having a conversation, and somebody out of nowhere would say, "Well, when they brought us here 400 years ago," you know, and I hear people say that often. I don't know about the younger people, but the people our generation and older, they will drop that line quick, fast, in a hurry. And it's not even a thought out process, really. When we look at it, we look at, okay, 400 years ago, the 400 years ago was when the Moors lost the battle with the queen over in you named it, you said the place, um you said the place the other day, Portugal. You know what I mean? After that, that's where the 400 years came from. But it wasn't no 400 years that we were enslaved. Then what happens from there is that's when the Christianity start wanting to force those of us of melanin skin to become Christian. And it was the wars against Christians. And that's what made the Muslims, with the Muslims, they want to take the Muslims out because they wanted to control the land. It is all about controlling the land. He who controls the land controls the resources. So that's the whole thing about what we're dealing with now. And we need to be honest with the world of what's happening, that look, these individuals, and it's really not a large amount of individuals. It's a small amount of individuals who are going land to land. And remember, I think we may be the only people who don't have. We may be the only people who don't have. It's like permanent, no permanent enemies, just permanent interests. You know what I'm saying? We may be the only people that don't act on that. There's no permanent enemies, there's only permanent interests. And all these other countries, remember, they're countries. The countries are being used as a person. The countries represent the people. It is also like a person. Like they'll say a corporation is a person. So at the end of the day, we at a disadvantage because we're really not considered a person, because at the end of the day, we don't claim a nationality that ties us to one particular landmass that gives us uh, latitude and longitude and jurisdiction, political jurisdiction over that land. We don't have that. We missing that. And it puts us at a disadvantage because even if we want to help other people around the world, we still have to ask permission. That's the biggest thing. We have to ask America's permission, even to travel, to go out of the country. We got to ask America's permission. We got to get a passport and get stamped. We don't have the luxury to say, look, let's contact Africa. Uh, let's contact Kenya and tell Kenya, and let's contact Cuba and ask Cuba to bring us food or something over here. We have to rely on people whom we have said disenfranchise us, don't like us, hate us. If we're relying on the people that hate us, even if it was because of our skin color, they hate us. How can we truly rely on these people to do what's best for us and support our best interests? The reality is we can't. We can't rely on them to do what's best for us because since since we got record of America being in existence, it hasn't benefited us as melanated people. It hasn't benefited us. Some cases, as you said, you make some progress, but progress when you looking at there's still places and things that we could say that we don't particularly own. We don't particularly have as a melanated people. So
I see like it's other organizations besides Christendom, and it's even white organizations, that's going against the government, that's forming their own government, and that's doing what they have to do. So I see it like my thing is when we're making a movement, and this is my whole argument. It's like, when we're making a movement, that description of us, to eliminate a description who everybody can recognize themselves as and attach themselves to, and to have them start saying something else when you can't even get the attention span them to pay attention. So half of it's gonna fly across people's heads. So when you're describing a movement that's made by another name or something else that they're not familiar with, you have to make them familiarize and connect them to something like they did black, or like others did, connecting it with something that's familiar. If you don't make it familiar that they're tied to it, it's going to fly over their head. They're not going to show interest in it. It's going to fly over their head. They have no connection. They think it's coming from somewhere else. And that's why I say, when we may not want to describe us as something, or say that's hindering us, or how we want to describe it, that's the majority of people recognize with. You can't get a people that of that large majority of people to recognize with something. People, of course, want to disconnect themselves. You want to disconnect yourself from the neighborhood you grow in, so you move to another neighborhood. You want to disconnect yourself from the way you were, so you change it. You try to do anything to disconnect you from any aspect of any negativity or any influential thing that can reflect on you being a part of that. You want to disconnect yourself with it. When you have a large majority of global people around the whole world, no matter where they at or where they go, no matter who they are and what they say they at in Canada or where else, those same evil people describe them as black. Or if we change the name and they say now we are these type of people, that same hatred, that same racism is gonna follow that, like indigenous people, the way they look. What we can't keep doing is giving the people a description that they can't grab or follow, because they don't have, it's not a broad knowledge, or it's not a easy habit forming, or it's like another set is being invented, another set. When you have something as powerful as a name is black, and it goes all over the world, and it goes and every village and everything. And some people say I don't want to tie to it. And some people be like, I'm proud of my black history. We went through this, we went through that. I'm standing on it, and it's tied. When you have that type of force and that type of power, you need that group. It's like the Christians. It's like Christianity. You know, it's like when the Muslims was making that transition, when they went to the Christians, they spoke the Christians' language. And this is my whole argument. You have to go to a people and speak the language they're familiar with before you start introducing something. So we can't, even though it is a description or however you may say it, we can't say we're not tied to nothing. We can't say we don't have nothing, because then you're just saying we just and that's not true. That we, some of us was brought over here. We might have been here already, but we still got enslaved and was brought over here. We still got captured and against our will and was distributed all over the world. We still got captured and distributed in other lands coming from the original continent. We still
Well,
got captured.
and
Now,
see that
it was people here, yeah. It was still people here, but they didn't live forever. You understand? They still had to go through a war and was it was less people. They still went and traveled and grabbed people. They still stole people from different places, like they even do now. And then they invade and they take. You know what I'm saying? And that still describes a people, even no matter how you describe it, it's us. It's the dark skinned people that they do this to. So I'm saying, no matter what you calling yourself, they still gonna discriminate against you, and you still gonna go through these trials and tribulations as you tie yourself to a documentation that exists because you entitled to it under a description. That's something totally different. That's the way you gotta introduce it to the people and say, this is tied, but not like we don't have nothing tied to us, or we not in the land. That's my argument. It's like, yo, we did come from somewhere other than before we even got to America. And if your history with the Moorish, you know who came here and where they came from and when they became Muslim and when they changed their name. That's a pattern. So before then, it's still however you identify those people, we're the same people. Now you have a large group of so many years of people that's been identified with that. You got to connect to that. You don't disconnect to that. You connect to that and you bring that over, in my opinion.
right, and for me, as you said, when the the name black is used, it's synonymous with being captured, being spreaded around the world, being victimized. It's anonymous with that. And the other names, every name that we had since we've been in this country, for so many years, at least as far as what I can remember, it wasn't something we chose. It was something that the colonizer gave and we adhered to it. Basically, now we have an opportunity to say, look, we done with what you calling us. And you can say what you want and you can do what you want, but this is who we are, and that's it. When one of the best people that do it is the Jews. The Jews are one of the best people. Now, technically, they white. So suppose the ones that we see here in America is white. However, they won't identify white for the most part. They decided we Jewish, we taking this Jewish thing and we sticking to it, and nobody can tell us nothing. We taking the black thing, we sticking to it, nobody can tell us nothing, but it's still tied to a lot of other elements that no matter what we do, how we do it, those elements follow that particular name. It follow it. No matter where we
They
go, what
follow
we
the
do.
people. Those
It don't
elements
follow the
follow the
people. It
it
follows
follows
the
the people. See, this is the thing. you keep saying, you keep this. It's like you're saying, like that's gonna eliminate any. This is what it sounds like.
Go ahead.
Like that's the key to eliminate our prejudice or anything else, and that's not true. This is what you're saying it like. You're saying it like if we substitute this, it's gonna stop them from doing this, and it's gonna invite this and this to this kind of people, and that's not true.
How
We're
we
the
know?
same people.
How we know?
What
How we
what
know? We
happened to the
haven't done
Moorish
it.
people? What
We
happened to the
haven't done
didn't
it.
they get prejudiced on?
We haven't
What
done it.
happened to the Moors?
The
Look at the
Moors,
history of
it
what
wasn't
happened
a,
to the Moors.
listen, it wasn't about them being prejudiced about against the Moors. Remember, they used the lighter skinned Moors against the darker skinned Moors based on colorism. Based on colorism. Once
So
they
why
got
is that
that
not
black thing,
prejudice?
once that black thing set in, it's some manipulation. Some manipulation to say, okay, you lighter, you darker, y'all go against each other. Now,
So now so you're saying they psyched up the Moors that who they were. That's what you just said. They manipulated the people who knew who they were, and they manipulated them against each other.
of course,
So
the same thing they doing now. The same thing.
hold it.
Go ahead.
So we're going. So now what you're doing is saying that we not black, and we know we're not black because it's just a description. But we're not tied to anything other than this situation here. Anything before that, it don't matter. Only what matters is right here when those same situations and those same people went against each other and manipulated each other and separated.
And ultimately came back together, but too late. It was too late by then. By the time they came back together, the damage was done. So that's the thing about that. Once they came back together, the damage was done. Now we still struggle with the same thing amongst ourselves. Believe it or not, we still
So don't
struggle
you
with that.
think that the approach of the black people that's needed in order to do this, and we don't want black people, because that's like saying the same thing as like we don't want black people. We want people that don't identify themselves as being black to be part of this. So if you identifying yourself as being black, we don't want you.
And
We need people
that's not what I'm
that this is
saying.
what this is what's coming across.
That may seem like it, but what I'm saying is the people need to be intelligent enough.
You don't think in
To,
2024
listen,
they that
if
intelligent?
they think like what you just said, then no, they're not intelligent enough. If they think that I'm saying to them that you because you black, I don't want you. No, I'm saying to them that name, that description doesn't define you entirely. It only defines a part of you. And as long as you hold on to that part, you limit yourself from the other part that will make you whole. Like as we can go around the bush, but the reality is, as a people, we're not whole. We're not whole as a people, as a unit. We are not whole. We're missing something, and we all know. We all be knowing like we missing something wrong. We wake up in the morning, something wrong. Why? Because there's another part of us that we won't open up and allow to come into that part. That other part of us is our true identity, how we connect truly to our ancestors, not the story that
Okay,
was
so when
told
you
to
say
us,
truly to
but
our
how
ancestors,
not the
ancestors
story
that
though,
just started in America, though, right?
huh?
We're not talking about the ancestors that
No, we
just
say
started in America.
ancestors throughout the universe, because that's where our
So then
true
we can
power.
tie ourselves to another land.
Not as a black person though.
Hold it. See,
That see
listen.
listen
You're going to
listen
description
we
again. You talk
because
about
because
your melanated skin tie
your melanated
yourself.
skin, you can tie yourself to all over the world. You
Okay,
can
then
tie
so
yourself all over the world.
let's stop saying
Peace,
as a
Ace.
black person. It's just a
Peace, Ace.
description. So instead of me saying melanated, I'm saying black, but you taking it to another level. I'm
You
going.
know why?
It's a
You know why?
description.
You
It's a
know why?
description. Is it
No,
not
no,
a
it's
description?
not just the description, because it's tied to too much baggage. It has a lot of other baggage that you carrying on. to drop that off, you got to drop that baggage off
So
because
how
that
about the
baggage
good
of
things
black,
that it carry?
huh? It's not enough good to overweigh the bad. To be
In your
realistic,
opinion,
yeah, in my opinion,
in your opinion, and
and
that
and, and
opinion is weighing out that because they hate us so much, right?
uh,
But yet, listen, but yet we are tied to a land other than this that we could call our home and call our own. It's not that we don't have anything. That's wrong to say that we don't have nothing unless because it's only tied to America saying we only started there and we existed from that point.
and
And
that's
that's
not what
not
I'm
it.
saying. And that's not what I'm saying.
You did say we
No,
don't
I
have
didn't.
no other land to tie us to. Yes or no?
Listen, I said not we as a people. Black doesn't have it.
Black
Not
is
we
a
as a people.
description, bro.
But if it's that, if it's just a description, why not let it go?
Who
Why
said,
not let?
listen,
Why
listen,
not claim? Hold up. Why not
you know
claim
what? You got to
melanin?
take a survey on that. You got to
Yeah.
be like the group
All
of
right.
people that's, hold up,
The
the
viewers.
group
The
of people
viewers.
that's
Well,
around the
let's ask
world,
the viewers. Let's ask the viewers.
the group of people that's around the world.
Let's ask the
Bro,
viewers.
let me
Start
finish
with the
the question.
viewers.
Let me
Let's start
finish
with the
saying what I'm
viewers. Go
saying.
ahead. Go ahead.
The group of people that's tied all around the world that we connect to, as a description of saying, okay, we were slaves, Negroes, blacks, melon, Muslim. If you have this dark skin, you are a victim all around the world. That's
And
what
see,
ties us together.
and that's the
That's what
wrong
ties together.
mentality. That's the wrong mentality. That's what black does to that mentality. That's the slave
So you
mentality that
saying,
black
hold up,
carries.
you saying we
That's
not a
part of the
victim all the way
baggage.
around the world?
Because look what you just said.
You saying we not a victim all the way around the world?
Look what you just said though. Look what you
I
just
said
said.
we are a victim all the way around the world.
But
If you got this
okay.
colored skin, if you look like this, you're not a victim all the way around the world?
The darkness is universal. The thing is, the reason we are victimized is, as I said, not because our skin complexion, it's because we are the original people and it's being
Okay, we know that.
disguised. Okay,
We
so
already know
all
that.
right, so if we know it's
So
being
that's all around
disguised,
the world.
okay, so if we know it's being disguised and we know that black is the catalyst that we're using to help keep it going, because soon as we say black, it goes into, okay, you was a slave, you was carried, it goes there. But what were we
You
prior
just
to?
said calling yourself a Moor, they separated everything.
I said
And they
melanin.
divided it and they turned the people against each other.
That
That's what you
happened.
just said.
It
You said
happened.
earlier they turned the people, the lighter ones and the darker ones, they turned them against each other and they separated them. So
Okay.
what's the difference?
The difference is now we know better. Now we know better so we can do
So if
better.
we know
So at
better,
the end of the day, and part of that was the black thing. You start using skin color to separate the people, and we're still doing it right now. Like, look, when you say, look what you keep saying. You keep saying black, darker skin. So what happens to the light skinned people that identify with black? You lead them out. You see what I'm saying? Because you've been
I
saying the
don't
darker
lead them
skin.
out. I'm showing you that no matter where you go, bro, once you tie yourself
To black. To black.
to our heritage, period. What color you, light skin or whatever, and you know how they use the light. You just said it. They use the light against the darker black. You
They
just
did.
said it yourself. So
They
that
did.
means that no matter what, bro, you are gonna go through this cycle because you're hated because you are the original people of this earth. That's what it's gonna happen. Because right now, bro, you got movements being made by people that and they saying they black, but they making big moves, huh? So that ain't got nothing to do with stopping nobody from making no move. But what it do,
The reality.
it connects people, and people can recognize that those people who they describe to do so much negativity is actually doing something positive, and is actually making a move. It's actually making the world change, bro. The people who are described as black around the whole globe are being watched right now in 2024, and they saying, "Yo, those people are making a move. They're making a difference, and they're
Okay.
being described as that, bro."
Describe. It's a description.
That's not stopping the
Description.
movements from being made, and it's not
Listen,
like a
listen what
movement is
I'm
not
saying to
being
you.
made.
it's still stopping those of us. Forget around the world right now. Let's focus right here on America. The American people who call themselves black. Let's act like the rest of the world don't exist right now. The people here in this country, no matter what moves they're making, they still have to go to another government to ask permission. Even like what you said with Chris, he had to go to another government.
Even
Now,
the Moors still got to do that too. They don't have their own
until
government yet.
listen, until you get your government,
Right,
ultimately,
so
listen.
you can't knock
Hold
another
up. Let me
movement.
tell. Hold up.
Nobody has it yet.
Hold
Nobody
up.
has it.
Hold up. Let me break this down to you. Technically, the Moors don't have to get the United States of America approval to build states. You don't need the United States approval. So what we're doing is a courtesy of giving them notice that, look, we no longer under your jurisdiction. That's a courtesy. The real individuals is the other countries. You're making it aware all around the other countries. Remember, here, what America is trying to do is with Gaza. Gaza wanted it, they trying to get their statehood. They're trying to do that, but they're saying America want to veto it, because America wants to support Israel. So at the end of the day, it's not about, if we were able legally and politically to be able to use black to get legally and political power, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But
Listen, forget the name. I'm talking about the people themselves being described that you need. How do you tie them into that? Because running them away and just saying
and,
you ain't
and,
black
and, and the
or if you
reality,
call
and
yourself
see,
like that, ain't
the
gonna do it,
reality
bro.
is this.
Why people are
This
making moves
let me hold
as
up.
black movements, bro.
Let me tell you what the deal is. Those individuals, the individuals who saying I can't let black go for my political power.
Nobody ain't saying that. Those are your
Okay,
words. Those are your
okay then.
words.
No, you're saying
No, I'm
basically
not.
what
I ain't say that
you
nothing.
saying.
I said you gotta the identity you talking about the group is, and you saying we gotta stop identifying ourselves like that. I'm saying
Okay,
how
all
you gonna
right.
get a group,
So
hold it, how you gonna bring a group of people and tell them they gotta stop identifying themselves as something for what?
and I
What's
just
gonna
told
change
you.
if they stop
And,
identifying
and, and
themselves
what did
that?
I just tell you? If you want political power and you no longer want to be under the jurisdiction of America and no longer want to be beholden to America, then you will have to say, look, I'm not black. I don't I don't identify black as my nationality.
So then that way
I accept
they can
I
claim
accept
whatever they want then.
huh? What
Then
happened?
that way you could claim whatever you want. You can make your movement. You could claim whatever you want. You could
You
be
can
like, I'm
claim.
this,
Listen,
and I'm gonna gather.
you can claim a bumblebee, but a bumblebee doesn't have a peace treaty with the United States. A bumblebee doesn't have that. So you can claim a bumblebee, you can claim a yellow jacket if you want. But at the end of the day, the peace treaty between United States is between the United States and Morocco. That's the peace treaty. That's
And
what's
who's the
set up.
Moroccans?
We are the Moroccans.
Who?
We,
Describe it. I don't know
the
who is we.
melanated people. The
From
melanated people. The
from where?
melanated people.
From where?
From what they now call Africa, and what they
But
call
that's oh,
what they now call Morocco.
yeah,
Remember,
but before it was Morocco, it was one continent. The
okay,
colonizers did that, right?
okay, all right,
So
but
now we could claim a land other than the land you
it's
talking about.
why are you worried about claiming a land and you haven't even claimed the land you in
Because
yet?
you said we not tied to nothing, and that hurt my
No,
feelings.
they hurt your feelings.
Yeah,
Woo, woo, woo,
yeah, because
hurt
it's
your
not true.
feelings.
It's not
No, but
true. We are
listen to
tied to
thing,
something,
listen what I'm saying to
and
you.
that approach is
Listen what I'm
crazy.
saying to you. Listen what I'm saying to you. At the end of the day, why run to Africa right now talking? We got our people there working diligently to do what needs to be done. A lot of them were colonized. They decolonized. We're the only ones having decolonized. So we talking about we can claim land over there. We haven't even claimed the land we're in. So what are we concerned about claiming the land over there when our people already got it claimed? So let's claim this land so that we can connect with our
You
people
have, you know,
land to land.
like I said, bro, it's movements, it's a lot of things going on. And in 2024, people are, black people are definitely, and I'm describing a group of people, the majority of people, the originals of this planet Earth. You know what I'm saying? The black original black man, who we don't want to describe now, we want to say the melanated original black man, right? Okay,
Or
whatever,
the
right?
Asiatic black, the Asiatic man.
Yeah, the
You
age
know what I'm
now we
saying?
can't even say the Asiatic black man,
I
right?
mean,
Okay, all
the
right, but
thing
I'm gonna stay
you
connected
go
to
ahead.
that group of people I'm talking about, and I'm gonna stay connected to that because this is the group of people we got to speak to, and this is the group of people. When I say that, they're gonna identify with me speaking to them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna connect with those people, and I'm gonna identify how they're being identified. In order to teach them something different, you gotta first recognize them with how they being recognized, whether we like it or not, whether it's wrong or it's right or not. We
No,
just can't go, you can't call yourself this, or if you call yourself this, this is like this, or this is gonna happen like that. Because listen, other groups that's making a move, they're not taking that away. They're not taking that away. And they're making great progress. Like Chris, like I told you, look what they did for the last 10 years. Look at the position they're in for the last 10 years and what they did with hip hop. They didn't stop calling themselves black. They didn't
well,
disconnect themselves with the people. They didn't tell the
and it's
people
not.
like they
And,
didn't tell the people. Listen, they did not tell the people that you can't do this and you're not going to be able to do this if you call yourself black or if you identify as being black because it's not a movement. They know it's a group of people that identify and connect together with that. You say what's bringing us all together. You ain't hear the word melanin. You didn't hear the word that. You all you heard was the word black. So now, if that's connected, that's a strong connection. The same group of people
Chris
who've
said,
been mistreated and
remember,
misused all over
remember.
the world. These are the people we need to make that what you're talking
Look,
about even happen.
first, what we need is to get 50 states. Stop talking about the people all over the world. We need the 50
Who do you
states
need to
here.
get? Who you need to get it?
Those who have the understanding to know that, look, I kind of have a compassion about being black, but my compassion about saving other generations supersede me calling myself black. So I'm willing to put that aside for the bigger picture for future generations. Those are the people. At the end of the day, if a person wants to struggle and say, I can't let black go, then we'll wait for them. We'll
And
wait till they get ready.
you still
We'll wait
missing
till
the
they get
whole.
ready. Because
You missing
listen,
the whole
listen,
situation, bro.
let me
It's
tell
not
you
a
something.
person, and I don't
Let me,
think, and I'm speaking for a lot of people. It ain't like we can let a whole thing black go. It's like when you describe yourself, where you come from. How do you describe it? When you say you from where you at in the block you from, how do you say you describe where you from? You doing a documentary. How do you describe it? We
from
from where?
17th Ave. I'm from 17th Ave,
What part of the neighborhood?
the inner city. 17th Ave between 27th, 28th, all the way. That was the okay.
And what you call that? What did you call that neighborhood?
Called the knowledge God
Located where? In the ghetto?
in the inner city.
In the
Okay,
hood?
so I changed before because remember when we moved there, it was residential. It wasn't even considered the hood. We had moved out of the so-called ghetto to the hood to more like the middle class when we moved there. So
But it
so
didn't stop us. It did not stop us from calling it our ghetto or our hood. It
you know
didn't
why?
stop us.
Because we
No
still
matter
had that. We
no
still
matter
had that
what.
mindset.
No matter what. my point exactly.
And
It's like,
that's
well, hold it. But it didn't make you anything other than who you really was. It just described you to another group of people. That's it, and attach you to a certain group of people. These are my people. We from the hood. These my people. We from the hood. We from the hood. It doesn't make our actions. You know, how many people we know from the hood that's lawyers and councilmen and that's in the government that's making changes that it don't affect them. They be like, yeah, I'm black, I'm from the hood. They don't ride on that, bro.
listen, a lot of them, including your vice president, won't now. She'll say it for the use of what you're saying to galvanize people.
I ain't
But
talking
prior
about
to that,
them phony people,
and
bro.
she's
I'm
not the
talking
only
about
one though.
keeping it
My thing
100,
is,
bro.
but what I'm saying is, she's not the only person. What you
No, it's
realize?
a lot of
Oh,
y'all.
oh,
And I say y'all. It's a lot of y'all.
it's time to end this, man. We already over time, man. So thank you guys for watching. Tune in tomorrow. The next time, we wish you
Emotions
love,
is
peace,
the
and
next thing
happiness.
is how do you deal with your spouse's emotions and how do you express the misunderstanding of your spouse? You know what I'm
Or
saying?
yes, or the significant other you dealing with.
Or your significant other when they're tied emotionally to a situation. That's the
Okay.
series, so I want to talk about it on the next
All right. Yeah, write that down. Make sure, in case I forget.
I
You
got it
know.
written down, brother, because that's
All
heavy.
right. All
All
right.
right.
Yeah,
Until
all
the
right.
next time, brother.
All right.
Stay black, stay melanated, and stay together. Love, peace, and happiness.
And show love the way you want to be loved. Peace.
Love. There you go.
Peace and happiness.
There you go. Salaam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.